It was a different world. Mayfair, London, 1926. The Queen was born in a house, not a palace, 17 Bruton Street, the home of her mother's parents. As the oldest daughter of the King's second son, Princess Elizabeth was on the periphery of the monarchy. During a peaceful childhood, she played happily with her younger sister, Margaret Rose. But then came the sudden coronation of her father, George VI, after the abdication of his brother. It was an act that would change the course of her life. At the age of 10, she was now next in line to the throne.
Bombers continue to strike in many parts of London as well as other cities and towns.
Soon the world around her shifted too. The shadow of World War II that hung over the nation became her first test of duty. She spent those years not just as a royal, but as a driver and mechanic, hands-on from the very start. But it was the post-war years that were perhaps the most carefree.
Are here seen enjoying deck games in company with a number of midshipmen.
It was a playful princess who travelled on board HMS Vanguard on a tour of South Africa. And it was there, on her 21st birthday, that she made a speech that would come to define her reign.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
By then, she had already met the man she would share that life with. Her wedding to Prince Philip in 1947 lit up a post-war Britain still mired in rations and ruins. They made a modern, glamorous couple.
Now the Duke of Edinburgh takes a fatherly hand.
There was Charles, then Anne. Then, 18 months later, everything changed. In February 1952, 6 days after waving farewell to his daughter, who was flying to Kenya, King George VI died. Thousands of miles away, Princess Elizabeth didn't know it at first, but she was now Queen. Her coronation on the 2nd of June 1953 would mark the start of the second Elizabethan era that would endure long into a new millennium, as she would become the country's longest ever reigning monarch. The Queen's royal tours took her to more than 100 countries as she became an icon for Britain around the world. At home, she swore in 15 prime ministers with whom she held weekly meetings. She gave royal assent to laws, opened Parliament, and bestowed honours. Andrew and Edward arrived in the 1960s, completing her family. The Queen's eldest son, Charles, married Lady Diana Spencer in 1981. It seemed like a fairy tale romance in which the whole country could share. But it was not to be. Tough times lay ahead. As Charles and Diana split, so did Prince Andrew's marriage to Sarah Ferguson. And there was a huge fire at Windsor Castle.
1992 is not a year on which I shall look back with undiluted pleasure. It has turned out to be an annus horribilis.
But that storm was not to be the most severe to hit the royal family. Grief overwhelmed the country when Princess Diana died. The Queen kept her grandsons away from the public gaze at Balmoral, but the mood turned to anger as people demanded a response. 5 days later, she returned to Buckingham Palace and delivered a tribute live on television, finding the words that restored her place in the nation's heart.
She was an exceptional and gifted human being. I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, and especially for her devotion to her two boys.
As they grew, those two boys remained at the heart of the monarchy. William's marriage to Kate in 2011 brought new heights of popularity for the royals.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
And then came 2012, 2 decades after the Queen's Annus Horribilis, a year that cheered the nation. London hosted the Olympics, when the Queen's sense of humour came to the fore. And even pouring rain didn't stop the celebrations at the Diamond Jubilee. Now great-grandmother in her own family, the Queen had become a matriarch for the nation. Harry's marriage to Meghan brought a smile to the nation, but masked the couple's personal unhappiness. They brought their first child, Archie, to Windsor Castle, but left Britain 6 months later, a very public and painful parting of ways. And then there was Andrew, a son she loved so dearly, but whose reputation she could not protect. The Queen couldn't allow the wider monarchy to be damaged by serious allegations, and she relieved him of his royal duties. When it was dark times for the country again, as COVID brought life to a halt, the Queen once again had the words that the nation needed to hear.
Better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
She and Prince Philip spent lockdown at Windsor Castle, where they celebrated their 73rd anniversary together. It was their last. The image of the Queen sitting alone at her husband's funeral encapsulated a country's suffering, and hers too. She made this tribute to Prince Philip at Christmas.
That mischievous, inquiring twinkle was as bright at the end as when I first set eyes on him.
Her Majesty's final year, 2022, brought more national celebration as the Platinum Jubilee lit up the nation. A by now frailer Queen wasn't able to attend a concert outside Buckingham Palace, but inside, her humour remained.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich. I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I. I keep mine in here.
Yes?
As a young Princess Elizabeth had promised, her life was always devoted to duty, at home and abroad, earning Her Majesty the Queen the respect and affection of the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth and the world.